I saw Violet with Depp Broadway last Friday because a couple of my friends were leads in the show, and they did a wonderful job. But then as I was sitting there, I realized the show's not for me. Not my favorite. It had like some weird racial politics.
Yeah.
And it's about this woman who has a scar on her face, and she wants to travel from North Carolina to Oklahoma. The year is 1962. It's the Vietnam War era, and it's also the Civil Rights era. But she has a scar, and she wants to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to meet this evangelical preacher who's going to supposedly heal her and make her beautiful.
Likely story.
Very realistic. But not really any explanation of why she believes it so strongly, or I guess I understand the desire to be beautiful, but then, spoiler, when she gets there, the evangelical preacher is like, have you considered focusing on your inner beauty? Because the scar on your face looks fine, like it's healed. And she was like, I don't care that it's healed, I want it gone. And he was like, I can't do that, I'm not a plastic surgeon.
Right.
And then she's like, oh my God, I'm ugly. But then the person she was racist to in the beginning was like, no, you're beautiful. Also, will you marry me? She's like, okay.
Okay.
And that's the story. And then the writers came up, and they're these two white people. And A and I looked at each other like, what the hell did we just watch? Not my favorite thing. I think I'm realizing there are just some musicals. Maybe I liked them earlier on, but now I look at them and I'm like, what on earth were they thinking?
I think if you put a lot of musicals under a lens and dissect the plot, you'll find that there's not a lot going on, or there's a lot of the wrong stuff going on, and they just kind of rest on their laurels, which are the songs.
Yeah, like I liked Hamilton, but now I'm like, that's so weird. Dear Evan Hansen, also crazy.
Dear Evan Hansen's plot is so crazy.
Insane.
And only like 2 songs bang. The rest of it's like,
I know.
Pretty cringe. Like, not to be like, it's cringe, but like it kind of is.
You will be found.
I mean, that's one of the songs that kind of bangs.
For me, that doesn't hit. Sincerely Me hits the most for me.
Really? I mean, that one's good too, obviously. And then Waving Through a Window, classic.
So good.
But then when you get into like
the storyline,
the one where he's like talking about the baseball glove or whatever.
I hate that one.
Going back to Hamilton, can't believe you're throwing shade at Hamilton.
It's just they talk about a very specific part of history without addressing anything else.
Yeah, but how could they have? It's already a 3.5-hour show.
That's true. It's just fascinating.
I think many people watched Hamilton and were like, and this is it. This is the whole story. And that's their failing, not the show's.
For sure.
I think.
That's the education system's failing. They said, yes, Alexander Hamilton rapped.
Right. Exactly.
He was a rapper.
But I'll kind of defend Lin-Manuel Miranda to my last breath. Wow. I think he catches way too many strays for how talented he is. I don't know. People love to be like, he's cringe, and it's true, but he's so talented.
Okay, I'll allow
He's behind all of the good musicals that have come out in the last 2 decades.
But is he good at writing rap songs?
I mean...
Is that your favorite musical?
No.
One good thing about Hamilton is that it did get me through AP Gov.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm thinking of now? That
what?
ASL theater full of hearing people who did Hamilton and ASL.
Yes. Oh my God.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. We never really got a resolution there. Why did that happen? Also, and then all the people being like, they're doing stuff wrong.
They're still active on Instagram. ASL theater, guys. Let me pull it up just to make sure I have the right.
Aren't they're like kind of running a scam, aren't they?
It's a group of ASL students
who are homeschooled.
They're all homeschooled. And they're doing plays. So like
I don't align myself with them.
So they're like doing Defying Gravity in ASL in this video. But famously, they did several scenes of Hamilton in full dress, full costume.
That went so viral.
It went very viral because a lot of people were like, wow, this is so cool, Hamilton
and we were
ASL.
both fooled at first, too.
But then several deaf creators were like, so this isn't correct. This is not how you assign this at all. And then you look at it again, you're like, well, the signing doesn't make any sense. It's just like a bunch of high school kids who must live in LA because they...
No.
I know, bad representation for you because they've also worked with Deaf West.
Well, maybe they just like took a trip there.
Maybe.
I don't claim these people.
Oh, they did a cover of Deaf West song. I don't know. This is Elephant Shoes, the one that we want to see.
I don't know. Did they work with Deaf West then, or did they just do that?
It just says cover.
Okay. That could have been unsanctioned.
What's your favorite musical?
Probably Into the Woods.
I've never seen that. What's my favorite?
Yeah.
I love Fun Home.
Really?
Well,
Yay.
I know.
I saw it and I was like, this is bad.
I think
The Keys song?
it's annoying.
Shut up about the Keys.
I think my thing is I just saw it at a very formidable time. I was like 14 or 15, so I was like, oh, I get
Those
it.
are formative years.
So maybe now if I watched it, I would be like, this is so cringe. Get a hold of yourself.
Maybe don't revisit it. I wouldn't call it cringe. I just was like, the book is bad.
I do like Spring Awakening.
Great musical. Deaf West production. Stunning. Beautiful. That was the first time I'd seen it. I didn't know anything about it before then.
My biggest regret is not seeing it on Broadway. Guys, I had internalized ableism back then, and my parents asked, do you want to see Deaf West do Spring Awakening on Broadway? And I said, no. Isn't that crazy?
Was it, you were like, I don't want to watch them sign, or?
I think I was just like, I don't sign. I don't know anyone who signs. Like, what use would this be for me?
Well, so Deaf West typically works with a double cast, so it's really
I know
cool.
that, though. I think
and that's why I asked you about Violet, because I was like, I don't want to listen to Sutton Foster, because I'm a Sutton Foster hater, sing.
I did listen to Sutton Foster sing.
Because they just play the original track.
Yeah.
But Deaf West has live singing and signing.
Yeah, they do a double
characters.
cast.
Yeah, two actors playing the same role.
Which I think the way my mom framed it to me was, do you want to see, like, a deaf production of a show?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was going to be people on stage signing and only signing.
Sense.
So I was like, no.
Totally.
Why would I want to do that? And then I think again, internalized ableism. I was like, no.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
yeah. But I missed out, unfortunately.
Well, we'll be seeing Elephant Shoes this summer, so should we get to the show?
Let's do it.
Did you go to your prom?
Yeah, it was nice. I wore a dress that I found online that was $90. It was just a simple navy blue dress with some sequins on the top. And it was great. And I went with a couple friends, a bunch of friends actually. None of us had dates, so I didn't really feel left out. And then after, we went to Southampton and spent the night there.
Ooh.
And then what my school did was they had graduation the afternoon after prom.
That's insane.
But it's to encourage you not to, like, do anything stupid the night of prom. So you don't, like, drink and drive or, like, go do anything crazy. So we went to the Hamptons and then immediately went back.
Right.
Got dressed and went to graduation, all exhausted, some hungover. And that was the end of high school for me.
That's crazy that it's like the last night of high school is prom. Ours was super staggered. Like the last month, they like staggered out all the events. So I think prom was like a month before graduation.
So did you have prom?
Crazy. We had a prom. I did not go.
Oh, really?
No.
I was going to ask if you had a date. No.
I would have had a date had I wanted one, but I ended up abstaining from going. I went and got my first tattoo that night.
That's awesome.
Instead. And it was so expensive. The thing is that they like rented a really expensive venue, and so then the ticket was like $200 or something.
Jesus.
And so I just said to my parents, like, take that money that you were going to spend buying me the ticket and pay for my tattoo. And they said yes. So then, yeah, I got my tattoo and then we got dinner. I didn't go to a normal enough high school where like the prom vibe was like that monumental. But then again, this episode, it's junior prom. It must be, right?
Oh, that's so true. They have another year.
Or it must just be, are they sophomores? No, they've got to be juniors.
They've got to be juniors. They're 16.
Yeah, they're 16. So they're sophomores or juniors, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like this prom could be any dance. Like, this could be like the spring formal.
I don't know. This seemed like a nice prom. They looks like they rented out a country club.
That's true, it does. But
There's
no
a whole
one's wearing
pond.
promy dresses. Everyone's wearing like a mid-length dress. Everyone's wearing like
That's
spring
fair.
formal or homecoming dresses.
Right, because the dresses are short.
I feel like prom, usually people go floor length. I mean, I guess Daphne and Bay, fashionistas that they are, maybe they're just pushing those boundaries.
Yeah,
but
we didn't see any other dresses, so we have no idea.
no. I think they're just like calling it prom.
Interesting.
Episode 22?
Episode 22, Venus, Cupid, Folly, and Time. which aired March 20th, 2012, and this is the spring finale. And they're going to take a little break until the fall, and we are also going to take a little break, but not that long, just for a month.
Just until the end of April.
Yeah, just a little breaky break. This painting, Venus, Cupid, Folly, and Time, is by Angelo Bronzino, and Venus and Cupid are kissing in the foreground while Folly is to the right, and he is about to throw rose petals on them, and then Father Time is looking from above. Pretty much every character in this episode is having some sort of romantic crossroads.
Yeah.
Bay and Emmett,
Daphne and
Wilkie, John and Catherine.
Toby and Simone, even though we don't really see Simone.
Yeah, that's true. And then Regina and Patrick / Angelo.
And Craig Tebby's kind of in the mix there as well.
Yeah, so there is some sort of romantic crossroads for pretty much every character in the show, so as I'm sure.
Fitting name.
Yeah. The episode starts off, Bay approaches Emmett in his bedroom. The way this was shot
was shot so weird.
It was like a handheld camera.
Yeah,
instead.
It was like a shaky cam.
It was so strange.
It was like almost horror movie. Like I expected him to turn around and be a zombie again, and for this to be like a dream that Bay was having.
And he goes, I have something I need to tell you. And we are all thinking he's going to tell her he cheated on her.
Right. I'm like, damn, they're really getting to this fast after leaving us hanging the last episode.
But instead, he goes down on one knee. And I'm like, and my first thought was, oh, is he trying to like make up for what he did by proposing?
He's totally Summer I Turned Prettying her.
But then he presents what he has in the box, and it's earplugs.
Yeah.
And he goes, will you go to prom with me? Carlton proms are really loud.
So cute.
He's being perfect boyfriend until later.
I hate it. It makes me so mad. He had this ability the whole time, and
he
he's
could have
only
been
doing it
this.
when he's guilty.
He could have been doing this, but yeah, he's doing this because he feels guilty. And Bay and all of us are relieved that he's not actually proposing. She says yes, and then they kiss. Regina and Patrick are on some random bench in the park, hugging.
When they appeared together, I was like, I actually cannot believe this is still happening. I know nothing happened in the last episode to kill this relationship off. I just feel like it should have died by now.
Well, it's going to die, I think, after this episode.
After Angelo smashes it with a hammer.
Yeah. She tells Patrick, by the way, Saturday's Daphne's prom. Do you want to have a sex date? Basically, she was like, Daphne's going to be out really late. My mom's going to be out. She sounds like a teenager.
We know that Regina is interested in having a very healthy sex life, and yet she's kind of cock-blocked at every angle. So I understand.
Yeah, that's true.
And Patrick's not a bad-looking guy.
No.
I'm just, like, bored by him.
We just don't know anything about him.
No, he's not important. Daphne is doing, you know, that bit, that John Mulaney bit, where he's like, y'all ever try to write happy birthday on a sign and you start out, big ass H, and then you realize you're running out of the room, and then you forget, and you start for birthday and you just go, big ass B. That was her. So she is making a banner, a promposal banner for Wilkie, and
it's huge.
It's huge and ugly, and she's like drawn them in paint in the corner, and they look terrifying. They look like drawings I would turn into a child psychologist, and she looks pathetic in the driveway. It's sweet. I felt for her, but I was also like, girl, you gotta get it together.
She's trying to write, will you go to prom with me? But she wrote big ass W's.
Yeah.
And
she's
says, will you go to prom? Hypothetically.
Prom, will you go?
Prom, will you?
Will you?
Go?
Us?
Prom, go, will you?
Maybe.
And yeah, the drawings are scary. Bay approaches and she goes, were these gingerbread Smurf people?
Bay's like, aw. And Daphne's like, I'm nervous to ask him because I know Def Prom isn't really Wilkie's type of thing. Girl, get up. Talk about internalized ableism. Daphne.
Def Prom sounds awesome.
Not only that, but like, don't be embarrassed. You should not be embarrassed on your boyfriend's like behalf. Well, I guess you should be embarrassed of Wilkie not being able to sign, but that is not her fear. She's worried Wilkie is going to be like, this is stupid.
Yeah, which he might.
He wouldn't though, is the thing.
Yeah.
I know the signing stuff, like he just is incapable of like trying or making an effort in that way. But he's not like fuck
not
deaf
mean.
people. Like he's not mean.
You're right. He's not intentionally cruel.
No. Yeah, it's more like a carelessness.
Yeah. But Daphne does ask for help with the banner.
Thank God.
And Bae's like, yes, I got you. So they're sweet. They're having this sisterly moment this whole episode.
Yeah, loving their sister vibes.
Yeah.
I don't like what they end up coming up with either, though.
Well, Bae doesn't do any art.
No, she makes the shitty poster.
All right, we'll get to it. Catherine is wearing a really sexy red dress.
She looks so hot.
Yeah, we're in the Kennish house, and I guess she's trying on the dress because she and John are going to chaperone prom. But there's still some tension between her and John.
There's a lot of tension.
Yeah.
I don't know how John can still be so cold to her. She looks so good.
She looks so hot.
But he's kind of mean.
Yeah.
Which I thought we ended with her being mad at him.
But he's mad at her again. But she's like,
icing her out.
You told Salazar about the miscarriage. Why are you mad at me?
He's still mad about the Britzia thing.
Yeah. Anyways, they're mad at each other.
Yeah.
Craig Tebby arrives, and he's like, so the private investigator went through Angelo's stuff in the storage unit, and there's a lactation consultant that Angelo had contact with, but she was never deposed. So I think we should go see her.
But first he says, Catherine, you look smoking. You look like a smoke show.
He says what we're all thinking.
Thank God.
But I think the three of us going together, you, John specifically, will be too scary. So I think it should just be Catherine and I. And John's like, fine, whatever, go.
Leave your checkbook here and please try to return in the car that you came in.
That was kind of funny.
Which Catherine does not. Not because she sells it, but technically she does not.
What do you mean? They left together. Oh, right, but then Toby has to pick her up.
Yeah, Toby has to pick her up later. So she is coming back in a different car.
Messed up. Bae is now helping Daphne with the new poster for Wilkie. In the prior scene, they were saying, like, a high school always does something different for promposals. And, like, we always do a little twist. That's every school. They're not different.
I actually feel like my school did not do twists.
Yeah, mine didn't either. It was always a poster that's like, will you prom with me?
Yeah, it was like the classic, like, flowers, chocolate, like some Valentine's Day type shit usually.
Yeah, flower and a poster.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bae's helping Daphne with the poster for Wilkie, and Regina's like, but what about my idea?
Your idea sucked. Which is so funny because Regina's also an artist. Like, do you think it was her mom blindness that she's like, Daphne can do that by herself, not realizing that Daphne is really not good. Like, she has no artistic
But she did a
talent.
cute poster for Carlton way back when with the hands finger spelling Carlton.
Yeah, that was cute.
Maybe her talents have regressed. I don't know.
I feel like maybe part of it is like her and Wilkie just aren't a good match. Like, she can't think of an idea for him on her own.
So she has to draw smart people.
Exactly.
But Bae's like, Regina, why don't you do my hair for prom? And Regina's like, would love to. Your hair is gorgeous. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, she says, I've been dying to get my hands on your hair for a long time. And then she pauses and looks at her and goes,
A long time.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. You could have made that happen sooner.
Much sooner.
Whatever. Gina's on the other side of the room. Her phone rings and it's from a block number.
Yeah.
And Bae's like, oh, can I answer it? And Regina's like, yeah, go ahead. Bae answers it. Silence. She's stunned. And then she goes, it's for you. Regina goes, who is it? It's Angelo.
You're right. I do feel like she's being daft.
Guys, it's Angelo. Like, it's so obvious to me it's Angelo.
Yeah, and Bae's face falls so hard when he's like, let me speak to Regina.
We all know what he says, but
No, we don't get to hear.
considering how short the conversation was, it seems like he immediately wants to talk to Regina.
Yeah.
Cut to next scene immediately. Regina is at the detention facility where Angelo's being held.
He has no business looking that sexy inside of a DHS facility. He's got a beard to show that time has passed. He looks so fine.
He does.
It's distracting.
The stubble looks really good at him.
So good. Regina's not distracted, though.
No, she's pissed.
She's mad at him.
She's like, where the fuck have you been? And he goes, well, I just went back to Italy to clear things up. That's crazy.
That is crazy. It is. He could have left a note.
And that's what she says.
Or
She's
sent
like,
a text.
anything.
Anything.
And then he's like, but on my way back, I got detained. They keep treating me like I'm a criminal. And she's
Yeah,
like,
King, you are.
This was crazy to watch. It's so timely considering everything that's going on with ICE. And the big words in the show say ICE and Department of Homeland Security. It was just too much. But Angelo's like, yeah, I guess I'm a criminal. Anyway, I need an immigration lawyer here. I have one in Italy, but not in the U.S. Can you get me one? And Regina's like, fine. But you and I, we're done. That's not true, guys.
No, and he also doesn't believe that. And he says, come on. But then he says, everything I'm doing is so we can get back together. What about your daughters?
Literally what I wrote down.
He's so sexy, but his character sucks so bad. And like,
sucks.
as much as I'm not on Regina's side, like, I am pro her being like, this is not about us. It shouldn't be.
No.
Whatever.
I guess it's the next morning, but next scene, Regina's home. This DHS facility must be right in town because they are zipping back and forth from the detention facility like it's 5 minutes away.
Regina's inside the Kenish house, and her and Catherine are talking about their favorite subject, their daughter's sex lives.
They said, oh, a girl's gonna have sex after prom. And Catherine says, well, I got Toby a box of condoms for after prom, and I told him to be responsible.
They're being so weird.
They're being so weird about it. Just talk to your daughters. It's promposal time.
Oh, God.
This is the cringiest thing I've ever seen. We're at Buckner. There's wanted posters for Wilkie, for James Wilkie Wilkerson III.
It's like the worst Photoshop job you've ever seen. There's just like a photo of him playing guitar cut out, like not cropped well, and then another photo of him closer up, and then just like a big like if scene call presumably Daphne. I don't even know.
When the scene started, I was like, oh God, I remember what happens. And I like had to look away for a second.
I know, it's really hard to watch. He's like looking around at these posters. People are looking at him. He's like, what the hell? Daphne comes up behind him, slams him up against the wall, puts his arms behind his back, and handcuffs him.
Kinky.
Yeah, and starts reading him his rights to her promposal.
Fake rights.
Yeah. You have the right to go to prom with me.
It was like you had the right to remain silent.
Anything you sign can and will be used against you because I'm taking you to the Carlton prom.
Is this Saturday? Will you go with me? Also,
she's like laughing at herself as she's doing it. Like she can't even commit.
Also, it's this Saturday. You should give more of a heads up.
I agree.
When you do promposals, I think people used to do them like a month in advance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I'm like, this is not a prom. This is like a homecoming. They're just calling it prom.
Yeah, whatever. The whole school is watching this happen also. And Wilkie rejects her in front of everyone. He goes, I can't. I have a paper due Monday. I can't.
And she is like, what the fuck? You never care about school. And he's like, no, I like really have to do this one.
My dad's on my ass. I felt like he was lying because he got the ick.
Honestly, I would have gotten it. I kind of got the ick too, Daphne.
He was like, you just embarrassed me in front of the whole school. I'm not doing that.
Oh, so weird. Also, I think it's weird to prompose to someone at their school to go to your school's prom.
True.
Like, Buckner's not having a prom. That's also what I mean. Like, Buckner's not having a prom at the same time.
Yeah, they are. Toby's with Simone, not his.
No, is he?
Yeah, because Catherine got condoms for him.
No, she's talking about, like, his junior prom last year. She says, like,
but he's a junior now.
No, he's a senior. If he's, first of all, if he's a junior, then the girls are sophomores.
Okay, you're right. So he's a senior.
They're just calling prom, they're just using prom as a term for dance.
Okay.
Because they're saying, Catherine's saying, like, when it was Toby's prom, I got him a box of condoms and they got hotel rooms.
Okay.
They're not having their own prom. Buckner is not having a prom.
Or at least not this week.
Yeah. So.
We don't care about Toby's prom. Next scene, we're at Bay's art studio, I guess. And Catherine runs up to Bay and Daphne and goes, hi, prom. And she has gifts.
I like her enthusiasm.
She's so excited about everything. I love her.
But I will say, her excitement level then, I was like, to convince me that she is not staging some sort of photo shoot for said prom is, again, confusing. And leads me to believe this is just a random dance.
Yeah,
There is no way Catherine Kenish would not have a professional photographer and a staged backdrop for them to take beautiful prom photos together.
Or like a pre-party.
Exactly. And instead, she's literally not even there. She's giving them the gifts now and then tells them, take lots of pictures.
She gives Bay a brooch?
I honestly was not. I think it's a hair clip.
But the hair clip she wears later is different.
Then I have no idea what it is. Maybe it's like a bracelet.
It's not clear.
I don't see a brooch on her.
Me neither. I was like, I don't think Bay even wears it later.
Maybe
so bad continuity, guys. And then a purse for Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
Like a shiny, glimmery purse.
Yeah, she calls it the magic purse.
Yeah.
Because it goes with everything except the awful outfit that Daphne ends up wearing.
We will get to that. And then Catherine leaves and Daphne's like, Bay, this sucks. I don't even want to go to prom because Wilkie has a paper due. And Bay's like, Wilkie? Paper?
That guy? Okay.
And then she rightfully says, like, you don't need a date, just go with friends. Or come with me and Emmett and other people.
I think, honestly, Daphne, this far, like, if Emmett wasn't dating Bae, she would have just taken him
would've just
if
gone with him.
Wilkie was busy.
Yeah.
So she, like, hasn't thought of what to do next.
Daphne goes to the car wash.
Yeah.
And Travis is back.
So Daphne decides, I don't need Emmett. I have Travis now. And she goes to the car wash and she says, you going to prom?
And he goes, no.
He also says, it's bad enough that I have to go to school with those people. I don't want to, like, watch them get dressed up. Is he talking about all of Carlton?
Yeah, I think so.
Why is he like that?
Because he can't get along with anyone.
But then it takes her, like, 2 seconds of convincing. And he's like, maybe I'll go.
Yeah.
He wants to make Daphne happy. He's a sweetheart deep down.
He is. Craig and Catherine are at the lactation consultant's house. Her name is Colleen Vandernoot.
Yeah, this Vandernoot lady is weird.
I like that the house is beautiful and it's like a sweet grandma house. They have like sugar cookies and sweet tea. And there's a beautiful,
kind of like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like surrounded by mountains. There's hanging plants and this nice white ranch style house. Colleen Vandernoot is played by Dee Wallace, who played the mom in E.T., and she's been in a bunch of horror movies. But she's a wealth of information at first. She was like, in the hospital, the nurses were overworked. They were still transitioning to the computer system, so we were writing everything by pen. The name tags would get smudged. It was a mess.
And they're like, amazing. This is great information. And she says, I'm happy to testify. Anything you need. And they're like, awesome. Keep going. And she's like, and once they got the computer started, they started implanting those babies with barcodes. And they go, excuse me?
In preparation for the coming of the Antichrist.
Ooh, woof.
And they're like, thank you, we're going to go now. Regina is doing Bae's hair for prom. She's up in curls. And Bae's nervous, and she's like, this is my first deaf event. This is scary. I get it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, what was my first deaf event I've been to? I can't remember. I think, actually, it was a holiday party for the Sign Language Center. That was my first big deaf event. I was nervous, so I get it, Bae. And Bae asks Regina, did Angelo ask about me? The answer is no.
Regina lies. It says yes.
Right thing to do. And also, is he going to stay? And does he know we want him here? And Regina's like, I think he knows what to realistically expect. And Bae's like, so he doesn't know. Oof.
Oof. Also, I know Bae's hair isn't finished, but when it was up in those curlers, it's really giving in the Princess Diaries when they're giving her a makeover and they turn her around and it is done and she looks like a moose. And she's like, I look like a moose. And he goes, yeah, a pretty moose.
I haven't seen Princess Diaries since I was like 12.
Ugh, it really holds up. Bae's hair turns out fine.
It's cute.
It's like
looks
fine.
the same.
Yeah.
It's like her same beautiful curls.
She just has like a deeper side part than normal.
With a clip in.
Yeah.
That is not the one Catherine gave her.
No, it is not.
Daphne goes to Wilkie's house with lemon bars. And Wilkie's dad answers the door. And he's like, oh, hi, you must be Daphne. Invites her inside. And he's like, you are a lovely person. Why do you like my son?
He's so mean.
And Daphne's like, because he's funny and cute and smart. And he's like, are you talking about my son?
Also, this actor, I don't know his name, but he is also in Psych. He plays Sean's dad in Psych.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of, like, soap operas. I looked him up briefly.
Oh, interesting. I think he's a really good actor.
Sure.
So that surprises me. No shade to soap operas, but, like, come on, let's be real.
Sure. And he's like, sorry, Daphne, Wilkie's not here. He snuck off again. Probably one last act of rebellion before he leaves. And Daphne's like, leaves?
He's shipping him off to boarding school.
This is going to be the end of Wilkie.
I know, I'm sad.
Because Austin Butler got cast in the Carrie Diaries, which is why he leaves the show.
Such a good show.
I've heard great things.
It's so good. It has nothing to do with Sex in the City. They threw out Carrie's entire plot line. Mm-hmm. He's so sexy in that show, too.
Okay, great.
Gorgeous. Amazing. I really recommend it. That show also canceled too soon.
Yeah, only 2 seasons.
It does come to an end. Like, it's not like it... Like, when it ends, you're like, oh, this is the ending. Mm-hmm. But it feels like it should have been more. But I think they're lengthy seasons, much like Switch to Birth.
Okay,
like they're like 20-episode seasons. So it's about the equivalent of like a 4-season show today.
The good old days.
I know. God, I miss him.
Well, Austin Butler's cast as the male lead in the Carrie Diaries, so
Yeah.
This is the last we see of him on Switch to Birth.
I'm so sad that he's leaving.
Yeah. And Daphne's sad, too. Daphne
And
is.
it's fucked up that he didn't tell her.
Yeah.
But also maybe not. I don't know. Is he her boyfriend? We don't even know.
They've been together long enough.
Wait, that's so... If he's being shipped off to boarding school, like...
I guess in the fall.
Now. No, like right now.
Oh, right. He said this. Yeah. But
he's
it's
leaving.
prom. Prom is what, June?
This is my point. There's no way that this is prom. They're just using the word prom.
Is it... Let's say it's March. Because the show aired in March. And they're just doing a junior banquet.
This is like the winter
like a spring
finale.
banquet.
Yeah.
I remember I had a junior banquet. We didn't call it junior prom. We called it junior banquet. And that was like in April.
Okay.
So maybe he's just finishing out the rest of the year
at boarding school?
That's so strange.
It does seem like they could stay together, because wouldn't he come home for the summer?
Right.
Is it a year-round boarding school? I feel like they could probably do 2 months of distance and then whatever.
It doesn't matter because they're kicking him out.
Right. They were like, we got to get him out of here. They should have just said military school, because that's year-round, I think.
Or like to his mom's house. Maybe mom doesn't live at home or something. I don't know.
Isn't he going to get away with more shit at boarding school? His dad was
Right?
just like, I don't want to deal with him anymore.
Yeah, but what? The school is now going to like force a pen in his hand and make him write a paper.
Right. And I feel like boarding school, no one's going to be watching what he does after hours.
Not at all.
Wilkie's going to clean up at boarding school. Think of the gambling he's going to be able to do with those other rich boarding school kids.
He's going to have a great time, honestly.
I know. This is really bad for his addiction.
It is. Craig and Catherine left Colleen Vandernoot's house, but he has a flat tire. And AAA is taking forever.
Yeah.
So they're stuck on the side of the road.
They're stranded.
That's it for now. Now, Emmett arrives at the Kennish property to pick up Bay, and he has his brand new motorcycle.
That was fast.
He's really good at building things, I guess. Bay looks cute.
Yeah.
Dress is cute.
It's like fine.
I'm sad Catherine's missing this, but now that I know it's not real prom, I'm less sad.
Also, she's going to be there.
That's true. He gifts Bay a helmet with her name on it.
Yeah.
And she's like, thank you.
She acts like it's a really big deal. It does just sort of look like a sticker.
It's a sticker.
So, but okay, cute.
Yeah. But Bay has Angelo on her mind, and she is very worried about him leaving. And she's like, what if we took a detour? And Emmett's like, yeah, let's go see him.
Because he's being a great boyfriend because he's guilty.
Yeah. And apparently the DHS facility is 5 minutes away.
Yeah, just down the road.
Around the corner. I feel like this is past visiting hours.
You would think. I also feel like wouldn't she need to be on an approved list already?
Yes.
Like,
I looked up, how easy is it to visit someone?
maybe because he's in a holding facility and not like...
But
like,
he's
it seems like it's like
detained.
a casual... Like, it seems like a way station between...
They don't explain this, though.
No, I'm just filling it in. It happened off screen.
But they arrive at the detention center that is 5 minutes away. And Bay sees someone getting shoved into an ice van. Again, this is horrifying to watch, considering the time we live in. They arrive at the detention center, and she sees Angelo. I guess security was like, here's your father.
Yeah, they were like, oh, of course, right this way.
Yeah, and Bay's like, so what the fuck happened? Where have you been all these weeks? And he goes, well, I just want to clear everything up early. And she rightfully asked, this is the same conversation with Regina, like, why didn't you call or text or leave a note or anything?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'm sure your family was bad-mouthing me.
Yeah, he's being so weird. He's like, well, I didn't want your parents talking more shit about me than they already are. She's like, they literally aren't. He's like, I bet they were going to call ICE on me. She's like, they were actually going to help you, but...
And yeah, they actually were going to help you. Also, if you need anything, let me know. And he goes, no. And Bay's like, no, what's up? What do you need? He goes, I really want to call my immigration lawyer in Italy, but it costs money.
He's such a mail manipulator.
And Bay goes, I have like $40.
And we don't see him say yes, but clearly he takes it.
Like all the $40, I think.
Because she's feeling weird when she gets to prom.
Oh, God.
Okay, and then back at the Kennish house, Daphne's getting ready.
Yes.
And I guess she thinks she's going by herself. Like, she's getting ready to go by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Her hair also not done yet, but looks crazy. Mm-hmm. And then she comes downstairs and
she gets a
text from a blocked number that says, come downstairs.
I thought this was Angela for a second.
Really?
It's just a blocked number.
Because of the blocked number?
I was like, how did he get out?
Like, obviously we're meant to think it's Wilkie, but then she goes downstairs and it's Travis.
Yeah, he's wearing a little tuxedo t-shirt.
Yeah, it's cute. And he has like a corsage for her.
But it's like a plastic toy.
Yeah, but
corsage.
that's sweet. Whatever. And he's like, so I heard a group of us were going to prom. And then he's like, can you drive? Because it took me like an hour to get here on the bus.
He traveled an hour
On the bus. He says, my dad's having his poker night anyway, so I figured I'd keep you company. Which just like alludes to like how sad Travis's home life is.
I get
It
it.
really tugged at my heartstrings.
He said, I'd rather be at Carlton with all these insufferable people.
Yeah.
Rather than with my insufferable father.
Yeah. And she's like, of course, like, I'll drive, come upstairs. And she leads him up, and then she sees a limo pulling in, and Wilkie gets out.
Fully dressed in a real tuxedo.
Yeah.
With like a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, big romantic gesture.
I would be furious.
And she kind of is.
Yeah. She's like, what's going on? He goes, well, I wanted to surprise you, obviously.
She's like, you haven't been texting me back. He's like, my phone was off while I was planning this surprise, obviously.
And Travis comes back down. He's like, oh, shit, it's Wilkie. And Wilkie goes, thanks, Travis, for keeping her company, but I'll take it from here.
And Daphne's like, no, he's coming in the limo with us, obviously. Like, fuck
Thank
you.
God. I was afraid
That
Daphne
she
was going to
gonna
kick him
leave
out.
No, she
I was
wouldn't
really scared.
She wouldn't have. She's not that bad.
She's not that bad. I noticed the way they sign limo. Usually the regular sign for limo, it was you would just like stretch out your hands like a really long card. But they did limo on the nose, like snooty.
Oh, that's fun.
Because this is snooty.
So Daphne was kind of being like, you want to come in the limo?
Exactly.
That's
like,
fun.
do you want to go in this very expensive car that Wilkie rented? And Travis is like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that there's no moment where they're like, maybe Travis is romantically interested in Daphne. He's really just like, I'm here as a friend. I do not give a fuck if Wilkie is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Wilkie is very upset that Travis is here. So they're in the car together, and he's being really rude. He's like, hey, like, Travis, like, stop eating the snacks. Like, those are for us.
Well, Travis is eating what looks like a delicious bowl of chocolate-covered strawberries.
Yeah, they looked so good.
And he's reclining on the seat. And Wilkie's like, do you mind? And Travis is like, what?
Yeah.
What's your problem, Wilkie?
He's a part of this, too.
And Daphne, now we get to see the dress. Would you like to describe the dress? I wrote, do you know what the two of them look like to me? It's Kermit and Miss Piggy.
That's mean. But
It's
kind
not-
of. But kind
It's
of.
the color of the dress.
It is.
A nude dress.
It's like a nudie pink.
Strapless?
Which is not a flattering color on Daphne, also.
Because she has pale skin already.
She's already quite pink toned, so it
Yeah.
is sort of giving complete nude.
Yeah.
Strapless in a way that is also extremely unflattering. There's no cleavage happening. It's like a clinging situation. And it is a short dress. Like it cuts off at the knee,
Yeah.
which is a bad place for a dress to cut off, like right at the knee. That is not flattering.
Conservative.
Yeah, it's very conservative. And the whole bottom half of the dress is feathers.
Feathers. She does have, the hair's cute though. It's like half up with some waves.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's the hair you do. Also the shoes. The shoes are like a tan nude.
Ooh.
And they're like too high for the dress. It doesn't make any sense.
I know.
It's really bad. They did her so dirty.
She looks like a nude Muppet.
She's giving nude Muppet.
It's unfortunate. Together they look like Kermit and Miss Piggy.
Totally.
Now we're at Carlton Prom with Bay and Emmett. I guess this detention center is right outside of town because they're there on time. Wilkie and Daphne, I guess, arrive because they're sitting on a bench outside of prom. And she's mad at Wilkie for the way he treated Travis. But then she's also like, I saw your dad,
Yeah.
and I heard you're going to boarding school. And Wilkie's like, well, I was going to tell you. But Daphne doesn't want to hear it, and she storms out. I think this is kind of warranted.
It's totally warranted. But then later on when she's like, okay, let's just have one good, like, last night together. I'm like, yeah, you should have gotten there sooner. Because
Yeah.
at this point, it's like,
You're at
what are you
prom,
gonna
just
do?
have a good time.
You're at prom. This isn't your boyfriend anymore.
Have some
He's
of
about to go
Travis's
away forever.
Have some of Travis's alcohol before
Exactly.
it gets confiscated.
Get a little sip from the flask and just, like, live it up. Because Wilkie is kind of the have fun guy anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the point of having a heartfelt conversation about
Especially
how he
now.
should have acted differently?
Everyone's trying to have a heartfelt conversation at this inappropriate setting. Not the time.
This is for dancing.
It's for dancing and spiking a drink. Which Travis attempts to do. But then John comes up behind him and catches him in the act. And Travis attempts to play dumb.
Yeah.
I love when John goes, you, drinky, and waves his finger. No.
But also, why are they letting John chaperone Deaf Prom? He cannot sign for shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think you drinking no is very
it's
clear,
really
though.
Good. Yeah, true.
And Travis hands over the flask. It's John and Melody's for the rest of the night.
And they will be drinking from it.
Regina is out with Patrick. They're going to have their sexy date.
I feel like Italian before sex. Not ideal.
What should you eat before sex?
Preferably nothing. A power bar?
I don't know. I think I could do Italian, but then a nice break in between.
Sure. A nap before.
But she's glued to her phone this entire date. Poor Patrick.
Regina's a walking red flag.
She goes, I'm sorry, it's my ex. You know, like, it's this guy, Angela, and Patrick's like, I know who he is. And she's just basically trying to convince herself she's over him. She's like, sorry, it's like the immigration lawyer. And Patrick, to his credit, is trying to be supportive and listen to all this.
He's being super great. And she just does the thing that you absolutely don't want to do on a date, is be like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here with this great guy who doesn't need a lawyer, who isn't in detention.
Who's not a fugitive.
And here I am thinking about this other guy. And it's like, right, we already know that, and he already knows that. Like, you spelling that out for yourself out loud is not helping your case at all.
And Patrick's like, I'm not a fugitive. That's the bare minimum.
Also, she doesn't say, like, why she likes him.
No.
She's just listing all the ways he's not like Angelo.
And why she should like him, because he's not like Angelo.
I mean, I can't list a lot of things about Patrick I like either, but she should be able to. She's about to have sex with him.
He likes art, and she likes art. That's all I could tell you. Next scene, we're back at prom, and Emmett leaves Bay to go say hi to someone, whatever. And John comes up, and he does, like, a little silly dad dance. And Bay, since she just saw Angelo and kind of hates Angelo, is like, wait, John, Dad, you kind of rock. I'm very grateful I have you.
She's like, at least you're just, like, embarrassing me at prom and not taking my $40.
Love you, Dad.
And then we're back on the side of the road.
Yep, they're still stuck, AAA.
Catherine's still waiting with Craig, and they're, like, having a chat. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, you're cold. He takes his jacket off, and she's like, no, I'm fine. He wraps it around her. It's like a scene out of a romantic movie.
Yep.
They're, like, snuggled together under this coat, faces so close together, and then they're, like, 2 centimeters from kissing.
But then Catherine pulls away. And Craig goes, I'm so sorry. And Catherine goes, no, it wasn't just you.
Good of her to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it isn't just him. I mean, he's being extremely unprofessional. But I get it. She looks amazing.
She's wearing the red dress. Now, back at prom, Bay sees Daphne, and she says, I saw Angelo, but I don't want to talk about it. And Daphne's like, great, because I don't want to hear about it.
Points for honesty.
Daphne tells Bay, by the way, Wilkie's going to boarding school. Everything sucks. And Bay's like, wow, that does suck. Why don't we leave this place and have some fun with Toby and Simone?
She hates Simone. Like, are they good now? I don't understand how they're good now.
Memory of a goldfish, like you said last episode.
So she's like, yeah, we should all go to, like, World of Fun or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Just, like, get out of here and also have fun.
A little inconsiderate of her. Granted, fuck Emmett, but she doesn't know yet. It's Emmett's prom. Like, for her pitch to be like,
let's get out of here.
We need to leave here so that we can support the send-off of Daphne's boyfriend that is not your friend is, like, a little crazy.
Yeah, this is the prom you were invited to.
Yeah, like, maybe consult him first. But she's like, let's get out of here. Let's go to World of Fun, hit up the golf course. And Daphne's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. John is drinking from Travis's flask, and Melly catches him in the act. And she's like, hand you over, and she chugs it. Kind of hot.
She does a good job. Yeah, she looks hot doing it.
She has like a little 80s look. She has a purple dress and some wavy hair going on. Kind of teased a little bit. And she goes, where's Catherine? And John goes, Catherine's out playing Nancy Drew right now. And I like that Melly mimed the magnifying glass. I mean, that's the sign for Nancy Drew. Who knows? But that was fun. And Melly signs, you two have been through a lot in these past few months. And then she signs something else, but John doesn't understand. But Principal Rose, thankfully, is on the other side of this park.
Thank God she's available to yell out what Melody was signing.
And she translates it, and she goes, Melody envies your devotion. You two are long-distance runners. That was sweet.
Also come a long way from Melody hitting on John. Like, for her this time to be like, love your wife.
You two kind of rock.
Love your love.
Catherine made yummy chocolate blood last episode. Like,
yeah, she won Melody over.
Yeah, she's like, all right, you two are pretty cool. And then the next scene, Regina and Patrick are sneaking into the Kennish house to steal condoms.
Right.
I feel like if you planned a sex date, condoms would be like one of the things on your mind.
Also, like, it just makes me mad when men aren't prepared.
I know. We talked about this
He
before.
should have been prepared.
Then Catherine arrives at prom because Toby picked her up.
After they almost kiss, Catherine's like, I have to call my son.
Yeah.
And have him
I'm
come
not
get
waiting
me.
for AAA.
Yeah. So she shows up at prom and she sees John.
John comes up to Catherine in her sexy red dress and he goes, do you want to dance? And the two of them apologize and make up and they have a beautiful little dance together.
They do. Is this a safe space to critique their signing?
Oh, for sure.
John, like, as a bit, is like, I'm gonna sign this to you because
we're at deaf prom.
And so he's like, you want to dance? And his dance is like, I don't even know. I can't even redo what his is. But Catherine goes, I would love to dance with you. And all she signs back, it's like a little ant like crawling.
It's like walking on the hand instead of like the pee going back and forth.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad form. So that was a little bit distracting from their beautiful moment. But it is nice to see that they're no longer on the rocks.
Yeah. They're long distance runners.
Yeah. So then Daphne goes to Wilkie and she's like, hey, what if we all get out of here and we go to World of Fun? And he's like, okay. And she's like, yeah, we go with Toby and Simone and Emmett and Bay. And he's like, I don't know why he chooses to be mad about Emmett and not, again,
I think because he knows about Simone's behavior, but I think he's even more hurt that Emmett would do something like this.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to go with Emmett. And Daphne's like, you've hated Emmett since day one. What's going on? Which I
don't know if that's true.
I guess he's just always like not really giving a fuck about Emmett, which is true.
But they just never clicked.
Then he kind of hated him because maybe he was jealous of him, right? Because he wanted to get with Daphne.
Yeah.
But Wilkie's like, I've just always felt that he's phony.
And Daphne's like, he's my best friend. I've known him my whole life.
Right.
And then Wilkie walks away mumbling, I don't think you know him as well as you do. And Daphne's like, so you just walked away mumbled to a deaf person. What did you say? And then he comes clean. And he goes, Emmett slept with Simone at the basketball tournament. And Daphne immediately goes, no. Why would you say something like that?
Yeah. She like does not believe it at all.
No, he didn't. And he's like, I saw it in the text. And Daphne goes, why didn't you tell me sooner? And he goes, well, I want to get involved.
Especially now that we know that he's leaving. I can understand not wanting to be like the one to blow up that situation and then dip.
Yeah. So Daphne immediately runs back into the prom. She grabs Emmett, who's dancing with Bay, and she goes,
I know, they looked like she was having a really good time,
I
too.
know.
I felt bad.
But she's like, sorry to interrupt. Emmett, let's talk. They go outside, and she immediately goes, did you sleep with Simone? Emmett acts
right
so confused. What?
He's such a bad liar.
And Daphne gets this right away.
Yeah, she asked him like 7 times the same. She's like, you didn't sleep with Simone. And he's like, no.
You didn't?
You didn't?
Sleep with Simone?
Sleep with Simone? No.
No. You sure?
Yeah, and she's like, okay, if you say you didn't, then I believe you. Sorry for asking.
Go back to dancing. And then immediately goes back to Wilkie and is like, shit, you lied. He lied to my face.
Yeah, he's a liar. But Emmett knows. Emmett knows he's caught.
Emmett knows.
He right away goes to Bay.
He is riddled with guilt. But Daphne goes back to Wilkie and is like, what do we do? We need to tell Bay. Maybe don't tell her tonight. Yeah. But it's fine because Emmett is going to ruin everything anyway.
Yeah, all by himself.
He comes back to the dance floor like shaking with guilt. And Bay immediately sees it and she's like, what's wrong? And he goes, can we talk outside?
Smart of him to know that like once Daphne knows, it's all over.
It's over. They go outside. He sits her down on the bench at this country club that they're at. And then he goes, I made a mistake. At the basketball tournament, I hooked up with someone. And Vanessa Morano's acting her ass off here. And she goes, was it Daphne?
That's crazy. Daphne's been so nice to you these past few episodes. Don't drag her into this.
And he goes, no. But she's like, you have to tell me who it is. You have to tell me. Who was it?
Oh, and he does the most painful, slow finger spelling.
Simone.
Yeah, he's like looking away from his hand. He can't even bear to watch himself sign it.
And Bay can't even look at him. She runs off.
And Bay's like, you don't even know her, which is so sweet and sad because it's like, yeah, Bay's never slept with anyone. She's like, it's not even like you cheated on me with someone where it like would have meant something. It's like almost worse to her, I feel. Yeah. She's like, you don't even give a fuck about her. Like, why would you sleep with her? That's crazy.
worst junior banquet ever.
Literally. So yeah, she runs off.
Wilkie and Daphne are sitting on the bench in front of some fireplace at the country club.
Yeah.
And no one's going to waterfront now, I don't think.
That ship has sailed.
But they're having like this bittersweet goodbye.
They're sitting in front of the fire and he says, I've never fought so hard for someone in my life and now I have to leave you. Did you fight that hard?
You didn't even learn sign.
What did you do?
Fought so hard.
What effort did you put in, Wilkie? That's crazy.
You snuck out of the house to hang out with her? Is that fighting?
I guess because she didn't immediately cave to him. Maybe? Whatever. Yeah. They just have like a bittersweet farewell. And then back inside, Toby sees Emmett standing alone. And he's like, hey man, what's up? Like completely clueless still. And Emmett's like, ooh. We don't see if they talk. Do you think Emmett tells him?
I feel like he does because he's like, well, I'm on a roll.
Yeah, true.
It's going to be like, I slept with your girlfriend.
That's going to be harder for Toby, who's not as good at sign. He's going to be like, what?
What does the sign mean?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Bay walks up to Emmett's bike, picks up the helmet that says Bay on it, and throws it in the pond and watches it sink. Bye-bye.
It's okay. It was just a sticker on a random helmet.
I'm more worried about the littering, but it's fine.
It's going to be easy to replace.
Now we're back at the guest house.
Yeah, this is a crazy turn.
Yeah, that's the end of prom. That's the last we see of it.
That's the last we see of any of the characters we mainly care about.
Yeah.
So back at the guest house, Regina gets a knock on the door and you're like, oh my god, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? It's John.
I guess prom is over?
Yeah, Regina's in a sexy post-sex robe situation.
I wonder if Patrick's like asleep.
I think Patrick's still there, but Regina is like self-consciously covering herself up in her robe. And John is like, I got off the phone with Angelo's new immigration lawyer.
And we have some options. Angelo can fight deportation on the grounds that he's been in the country for a decade, but that probably won't work because he has a criminal record. He could also fight on the grounds of undue hardship on his child, who is a U.S. citizen, but that will involve Bay testifying. And they both agree that they don't want to make Bay do that.
Good.
And it also probably won't work.
Yeah.
And the very last thing is Angelo commits immigration fraud and marries a U.S. citizen.
He doesn't say the fraud part.
No.
It's implied. He just looks really hard at Regina and goes, he could marry a U.S. citizen. And that is the end of the episode.
It is.
Crazy.
That, as someone who is a U.S. citizen who is married to a non-U.S. citizen, there is no way.
I know, but they love to do this gag. One of my favorite movies does this gag.
I know.
The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
I know, because she's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the USCIS is going to immediately look at the papers, see that he has been detained and is about to be deported back to Italy.
Right.
And see he got married.
Right.
And be like, this is fraud.
Yeah. Like, very clearly.
Whatever, it's not my problem. And they'll get into this later.
I guess they could, I don't really remember what they do, but I guess they could pitch it as like, well, we broke up because...
And they do have a history together.
They do have a history. We broke up because we thought, like, he thought I'd had an affair, but then our children were switched at birth, so obviously we got back together and we're in love again. But
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
true.
It's
There's
been
a whole
so
track.
long. That was 13 years ago. I don't know. It's still crazy.
Whatever, we'll get to that.
Because it's fraud.
Because it's fraud. I didn't get married for fraud, guys. I got married for love.
That's the good way to do it.
Exactly.
And that's the winter finale.
Yeah, that is the winter finale.
And that's kind of our winter finale.
That's kind of beautiful.
Well,
we timed this perfectly.
I know, we really did.
So the show comes back September, but we'll be back
in May. We'll be back in May, guys, for the last 9? I think we have 9 left.
Yeah, that sounds right.
9 episodes.
Beautiful.
Of season 1.
As I said last episode, I love when a show has an event. So this was exciting.
Love a good event.
Love an event.
I love a new venue unlocked.
Yeah, we got prom and DHS.
Wow, 2 for 1.
A twofer. Any other thoughts?
Everyone looked like shit at prom.
Except Catherine.
Catherine never looks like shit. Maybe she has a clause in her contract because she was like the most famous person.
She was like, I will be dressing myself.
I will not be made to look like shit by ABC Family.
Correct.
And good for her.